G'day, welcome to Endurance Room. Hope you're all doing well. Today we're taking a look at the large M05 tarp from Varusteleka. We looked at a smaller version of this tarp about a year and a half ago, and it's been my primary shelter sheet here in the Adirondacks. They're both very good, made to Finnish military specifications, and they're ideal in a woodland environment, whether you're in a conifer forest or a deciduous forest. I've got both with me in my pack. We'll take a look at them and see the size differential, talk about some of the setup options between the two, and take it from there. Welcome to Endurance Room. All right, so I've been running my Yukari M the past couple of months, and I've got the 6-liter side pouch on the one side with the large tarp in it. On the other side, I got my Ascari, sleeping pad, clothing and sleep kit on the inside, room for food and whatnot. But shelter fits pretty good in this large 6-liter side pouch. I've got room for the large tarp, tent stakes, guy lines, maybe a ground sheet, things of the sort, all in here, and it's pretty easy to access on the outside. In comparison, the small M05 tarp, we've got it right here. This is a 5-liter stuff sack from Savoda. I really like this. It's a mesh material, so it gets ventilation, and when the tarp gets wet, you can clip it to the outside of your pack and let it, get some air while you're traveling. But as you can see, this is pretty compact. Weighs about 1.5 pounds, maybe 2 pounds with my shelter stuff. In comparison, rolled up side by side, 2.5 meter, 3 meter. They're not too far off. You can compact the larger one down to a pretty comparable size. They will both fit inside of this 5-liter stuff sack a-okay. So they're not too far off. The large one is about maybe 1 pound heavier, so pretty comparable. But I will say the extra 2 feet that you get with this on each side ends up being an extra 36 square feet, almost 40 square feet of coverage, which is pretty significant. But if you just need something light and quick for summer, spring, fall, this is a really good setup option. It's large enough you can use it with a hammock if you run it in a diamond configuration. It's a really nice tarp. I've been using this quite a bit, and the fabric is holding up. All the stitching is still good, and the tie outs they're rock solid. As you can see, it's this heavy Finnish military webbing, very well made in Europe. Let's start with a basic lean-to first. I've got my ridge line set up. It's my prusik loop. I'll run the loop of the tarp through the prusik, tension it off. It's a close-up of our corners. Triangular reinforcement, double stitching, nice heavy-duty webbing loops, and these are really nice and convenient for toggling off your tarps. As you can see, quite a bit of room. My arm spreads about 6 feet side to side, so pretty significant amount of space in here for warmer weather or just relaxing on a day hike, getting out of the rain. Great option. In comparison, here's a lean-to with the 8x8 or 2.5 meter by 2.5 meter. Still, it's a good sized lean-to. There's plenty of coverage under here, and it fits pretty easily in a tighter or more congested forest. So if you're in a thicker, denser woods, this is a really nice option because it gets in just about anywhere you want to go. Next up, we'll do an A-frame. I use this setup quite a bit, usually with my Yervins. I'll drape the tarp over top of the ridge line, and then I can use the ridge line to tie off the Yervin and have a sleeping pod on the inside of my tarp. It makes a really nice shelter option. In warmer weather, also run this with a bug tent, a mesh tent, and it'd be the same thing. I'll run the tarp over top of the ridge line with the bug net suspended on the inside. So you basically get a fully enclosed tent with the versatility of the tarp. Let's take a look at it a little further back. Here we are, about 30 feet away. Not too bad. Next up, let's look at a plow point. So I've got my ridge line set up at an angle. I'm running down to about a foot off the ground at this tree behind me. I'll slide my prusik loop up to my first tree here. Anchor off with our toggle. We'll use the center tie out with our second prusik loop. Toggle off. At the back of the shelter, I like to go in a tie out on either side, and this will help you kind of round out the back of the shelter. So as opposed to coming all the way back like so, I like to round it off a bit. Very nice. We got quite a bit of room in here. This would probably accommodate 3 people if you had to. 2 people, no problem. But you've got room both going lengthwise as well as across. It cuts out a lot of wind. You get a small fire out front. It is fairly low. It is fairly irregular in shape. Depending on where you set it up and how you position it, you can have this pretty stealthy. Let's get a little distance and take a look at it. Here we are, about 20 feet away. Basically in an open line of sight. This is my version of a forester's tent. We've got 3 sides of cover, a good amount of height. There's room to sit up inside of there. You've got plenty of room on the inside for 2 people and gear. If you need to tighten it up, it's pretty easy to do so. You can put a poncho right across the doorway, or you can move some of the tent pegs and make a door out of the tarp and close it completely off. To fully enclose this setup, I unstaked it. You raise the pitch a little bit so the bottom 2 corners are touching the ground. You want them to be able to come together at a center point underneath the ridge line. We'll drop a stake in just to kind of hold their place. Then we'll go in 1 loop, pull it down to tension, stick it off, come to our back, come in 1, and there you have a fully enclosed tarp shelter with a 10 by 10. So we've got an opening and closing door there. You can carabine the tarp loops off to give you a little bit more security. You're fully enclosed, so you're going to be collecting your body heat and staying warmer than you would in an open shelter. And it's still pretty low and irregular. Here's an interesting shelter setup. I believe they call this a bird beak, just because of the front peak here. It's kind of like a modified plow point mixed with an Adirondack shelter, I guess you could say. We've got a plow point style opening, and then the walls of the tent kind of wrap around, similar to an Adirondack shelter, giving you 3 sides of cover. We've got a triangular back wall that is about 6 feet across from right here to right there, and then further over, it is about 8 feet across. So there's enough room in there for 2 people to lay sideways going across. So a good bit of space. It is pretty low to the ground, irregularly shaped, pretty stealthy. You could blend this in very, very well. Let's see what happens if we drop the front of the shelter down, and maybe we can close it up. Interesting, check this out. So the peak of the shelter is collapsed over, forming a door about the size of a small pup tent, 4 feet from there to there. Interesting, we've got a fully enclosed tarp tent. So in colder weather, inclement weather, you could close your tarp up and be fully protected from the elements. I dig it. Here's another variation on it, set up for 1 person. Long and deep. We've got about 4 feet from the corners here at the back. Center tie out, giving us some loft in the center once again. And then from the back corner to the front corner, we've got about 8 feet in length. So pretty spacious on the inside. Our peak is about 4 feet off the ground once again. And if you look on the interior here, we've got room for 1 person in gear. Let's see what happens when we drop the peak. We've got a fully enclosed shelter. 1 person in gear. You know, your head would be back here. Maybe your backpack at the front, propping it up underneath to give it a little bit more loft out front, but pretty cool. If you needed to stay warm, that would help you out. And it is very low to the ground, small footprint. The Bliss principles are in full effect. Blend, low, irregular, small silhouette. See it from a distance. We're about 30 feet away and pretty much a clear line of sight. Pretty stealthy. A little bit of cover and blend right in. Just to give you an idea what it looks like with the backpack laid across the opening. There you go. It kind of props up the front and gives you a little bit more space. Fully enclosed shelter. You're probably going to get some condensation in there, but it's going to keep you warm. There you have it, guys, the large M05 tarp. I think it's really good. Like I said, I've been carrying the smaller version now for about 1.5 years, and it's holding up just great. There's no visible signs of wear and tear on the tarp, despite folding it, unfolding it, and just crumpling it up and packing it down into that stuff sack over and over. It's holding up very well. If you'd like to check one out, I have a link for you down below. You can check out both the large and the small, Varusteleka.com. All right, everybody. Thank you for watching. We'll see you in the next one. Cheers.